What's going on, guys? Welcome to our first full workout series where I'm going to be breaking down each and every workout I do for my 7-day split, going into detail on what I'm doing each day and why I'm doing it. And this series will grow and evolve as my program changes. Today we're going to be covering my full shoulder and bicep workout. So stick around. I've broken up all the movements into chapters you can see in the description below. So I do 2 shoulder days a week. They're more or less the same workout, and I'm alternating which body part I start with. So on the first shoulder and bicep workout of the week, I'm hitting shoulders first before moving on to biceps. And on the next day that I hit shoulders and biceps, I'm starting with biceps and finishing with shoulder. But regardless, I'm always starting with a 5-minute warm-up, which I forgot to film. So just imagine I'm on a stair stepper for 5 minutes. And we do that to get the blood flowing in our body. That's going to help us perform better in the gym, and it's going to also help prevent injuries. So make sure you prioritize that. And before I move on to my first heavy compound movement for shoulders, I do some shoulder warm-up exercises. My favorite is this band external rotation to an overhead press. So I'll wrap the band around something, machine or something close to me at around chest level. Then I'll take a hold of it, kind of stretch it out so my hands are shoulder width apart. And from here, I'm going to rotate my wrists up, doing that external rotation until my forearms are pointing straight up. So there's that 90 degrees in my elbow, and then I'm going to press straight up. And I'll repeat this for, 12 to 15 reps, something like that. It's just going to help get your shoulder warmed up and your rotator cuff warmed up for our first movement, which is the overhead dumbbell press. So I'm going to do these seated. You can do them just standing, but I find it's easier to progressively overload the weight when you're sitting at a bench like this. And you don't want the bench to be straight up for these. I would put it at the first setting. So I believe that's 75 degrees on most benches. So the first setting back. So I usually go pretty heavy with these. On this day, I was focused more on kind of high volume. So significantly lighter on the weight for the dumbbells here. And I was pressing out probably like 15 to 20 reps at 3 to 4 sets. I typically do something much heavier in a lower rep range, somewhere around 6 to 8 at 3 to 4 sets. But I don't know why. I just felt like doing a little bit higher volume on this day. So just be aware of that. Most programs are going to include a heavy overhead press in that 6 to 8 rep range. And like any compound movement, you want to prioritize those in the beginning of your workout. And that's because you want to give as much energy as you have to those. So from here, we're going to move on to our next heaviest movement for shoulders today. And that's going to be the standing half rep lat raise. This was one of John Meadows' go-tos, and rest in peace, John. I find these things are super effective for getting a good pump in your shoulders, but also working that bottom half of the rep range. So we're going to go really heavy with these. It's probably twice as much weight as I use for a normal lateral raise. And I would definitely wear a belt for these because you're going to be going pretty heavy. You want to protect your back here. And I'm using this Gym Reaper's lever belt, and it's my favorite belt that I've ever used. And I am sponsored by them, so if you want one of these, go grab one, use code PERK, you'll get 10% off, which is a chunk because these things are not cheap. Definitely worth the investment though. We want to do everything that we can to minimize the injury risk while we're at the gym, and a belt's going to help you do that. So with the dumbbell starting at your side, slightly in front of you, I really think about sweeping my arms out away from me and up in an arc. And I know the lateral raise in general is just kind of a hard movement to feel that mind-muscle connection with, but if you really focus on sweeping the way out away from you, like I said, and kind of leading with your elbows towards the ceiling, I think that's really going to help you with activation. And again, we're just focusing on the bottom half of the rep range here. You don't want to go so heavy that you can't control the weight. You want to be under control still, but you only need to be doing the bottom half of the movement. So if you think that you could do more than the bottom half, you need to probably add a little bit more weight. And if you're swaying around and throwing the weight around a lot, then you probably need to go a little bit lighter. Moving on, we're going to hit my favorite movement for side delts at the moment, and that is the chest supported Y raise. So we're going to set up on the bench here face down at a pretty low angle. This might actually be too low. It could be better to go up maybe one more setting than I had it at here. But the idea with the chest supported bench here on these raises is it's going to prevent you from cheating using any momentum from any other parts of your body. So it really helps isolate your side delts. So as you raise your arms up, again, think about leading with your elbows to the ceiling. And we're going to raise up until our wrists are just about eye level. And then slowly and under control. This is key here. Don't just let the weight come down as fast as you threw it up there. Slow and under control. on the negative here, lower the weight down before performing the next rep. So you're probably gonna have to go pretty light with these, probably lighter than your ego would like, but going light with these is gonna be key to activation, and we're gonna go higher with the rep range, somewhere between 15 and 20 reps here. And towards the end of that rep range, if you're struggling to get a full rep, I want you to bust out as many like half reps or partial reps as you can. If you've never done these, definitely give them a try. You're gonna walk around with a massive pump after this. We're gonna stay at the same bench at the same angle, and we're gonna do some front raises. Very similar process to the last movement, but instead of raising our arms up in a Y, we're gonna raise them out directly in front of us. Now I love using these dumbbells with the sort of hexagonal tops to them. It's much easier to put them together without them slipping around. So I definitely prefer using these sort of dumbbells for movements like this where you're gonna benefit from pressing them together, or the idea is to press them together. So for this, let your arms hang straight down. Press the dumbbells together, and we want a slight bend in our elbow there. You don't want your arms to be completely straight for these. You want to have a slight bend in your elbow. You can see that angle in my elbow as I do these front raises. But again, doing these chest supported is really going to help focus on that area and prevent you from doing any sort of cheating by using momentum or other muscle groups to help you get the weight up here. So again, like I said, keep that bend in your elbow. As you raise your arms up in front of you, raise them up until your wrists are about eye level. And again, slowly and under control, come back down to that starting position. We're going to go high with the reps here again, probably 15 to 20 reps. I mean, you could get away with a 12 to 15 rep range for these. And that's going to do it for our front delts. So we're going to move on to our rear delts, and we're going to do a banded face pull for these. Face pulls and rear delt flies, reverse flies are really the best movements, I think, for your rear delts. And I feel the most probably mind muscle connection with those. Here with the band, we're going to set it up right around eye level, maybe just a little bit below. And as you pull the band towards your face, you want to pull it apart just slightly, but really focus on flaring your elbows out and up. And like with every back movement, I suggest that you kind of round your shoulders forward on the eccentric here to get a good stretch on the muscles you're working, in this case, your rear delts. Because we're using a band, we're going to go higher with the reps here, but if you were going to use, a rope at a cable machine, I'd shoot for somewhere around 3 sets anywhere between 8 to 15 reps. I'm going to go a little bit higher here just because the band is a little bit less weight than a cable machine would be. And that's going to be it for shoulders. We're going to move on to biceps next. We're going to start with one of my favorite movements for biceps, and the activation on this one is absolutely insane. Trust me, just try this out. The pump that you're going to get from this it's hard to get a pump like this with other movements. Part of the key to this is going lighter with the weight. You really got to leave your ego at the door with these. So again, we're going to set up on a low angled bench here face down with 2 lighter dumbbells. And right off the start, you can see I'm opening my wrists up. I've supinated them so my thumbs are pointing down. My pinkies are the closest thing to me in my hands. We're going to keep our wrists locked into this position for the entirety of the movement. Okay, so I call these the supinated spider curls. And we're going to do 1 full rep. And then on the way down, we're going to stop halfway. Keep intention on your bicep. So 1 full rep, down halfway, stop halfway on the way down. Curl that back up to the top, so that top half is a half rep. And then lower it down to the starting position with your arms all the way down. And that's 1 rep. So we've got 1 full rep and a half rep, and then back to the starting position, and that's going to count as 1 rep. Now, you could do these in the 12 to 15 rep range, but for these, I'm going to go as many reps as I can for each set, and I'm going to do 3 sets of these. Moving on, we're going to hit our brachialis next, again, which is the muscle that sits under your bicep. It's kind of a superficial muscle, but developing this is going to push your arm up and out, your bicep up and out, making your arm look wider. So this is important. Don't skip this on arm days or bicep days. Make sure you're hitting your brachialis. What's nice about this one, it's also going to hit your forearms. And I have a lot of people asking me for the forearm workout, which doesn't exist. I don't do forearms. I don't train them separately or individually. They definitely get enough work from biceps and back. So this is a great movement that's going to hit your brachialis, but it's also going to hit your forearms. Now, doing these with a kettlebell is key here. So taking a hold of the kettlebell, the end of the kettlebell, you can kind of cheat your hand to one side, the side that you're going to be curling in towards your body. And as you curl in, maintain that hammer grip, and you can see there's so much tension at the end of the ball here, and that's going to be what's making this really difficult. So you might have to go a little bit lighter than you think here. But trust me, these things go insane for hitting your brachialis. And bonus, your forearms. We're going to finish up targeting the biceps peak, which is the long head. For some reason, people think that the short head is the peak, but it's not. It's the long head. And you can target that. And by doing a movement where your arm and elbow comes behind you, and you curl from that position, that's going to really help us target the peaks. So this is affectionately known as the behind the back cable curl. So grab a D handle on a cable machine here, set it up at the lowest setting, take a few steps away from that so you're facing away from it. Some people call it face away curls, but definitely prefer calling it behind the back cable curls. And so from here you want to keep your body mostly upright, and then let your arm and elbow come all the way back behind you. And you can see in these I'm really exaggerating, letting my arm come all the way back. From here, just curl forward until your wrist reaches about your chest level. The only movement that we're going to see here is going to be in that elbow joint. So the rest of your body should be stationary, and that's going to help isolate your bicep for this movement, but specifically the long head of the bicep. So I'm going to finish up hitting these 4 sets of them at somewhere between 8 to 12 reps, and that's each arm. And that's going to do it for this full workout. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next full workout vlog.